one of the things that people have asked of these webinars is that they get a little bit meatier and they get a little bit more in depth. So for this one, we're going deep on social posting. So buckle up, because so we're going to talk about all the stuff that ActiveDEMAND can do. So kind of like the high level overview of what we're going to cover. I'm going to cover what ActiveDEMAND's good at with social, how to use it, and then reporting on those posts and advertisements and whatnot. So first, where and how to use it. Well, just stepping back, why do we use marketing automation software in the first place? It can gather lots of input signals, lots of signals from the users, and it can take action on those signals. So we have to keep that in mind, that strength in mind, so that we want to capture more signals. We want to capture social signals. We want to take action using social, and using that marketing automation engine, in this case ActiveDEMAND, to power that is going to allow us to do some more insightful marketing at scale. The other thing that we pull out of it that I really like is the attribution and marketing impact per channel. You can only really get that if you're actually getting the data inside each of these different, from all these different channels inside ActiveDEMAND. So that's very important to me, just that reporting. So let's look at some examples of where to use ActiveDEMAND. Scheduling out future social posts. So if you want to kind of bulk out a calendar, if you will, over let's say like a quarter, it's great for that. It's great for doing those posts. It tracks the links from the posts. And it's easy to kind of queue them up. It's great for integrating social posts in a multi-channel campaign. So for example, if you embark on, okay, we're going to do a $30,000 campaign. We're going to have Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. We're going to do this contest over here. We're going to have a blog post and advertisements, and it's all going to be this like special campaign. It's fantastic for that kind of stuff because it can track all of those channels back to one place and back to one campaign. So it makes it easy to report on it and manage it. Performing social channel reporting, like I mentioned, is also important as well. And then there's support for some social automation in it as well, which can be handy. So what doesn't it do? There's no real-time social engagement back and forth. So some other social platforms out there, you can like tweet or Facebook message or kind of engage with your audience real time. It's not really for that. We don't really have the right interface for that kind of a thing. And primarily ActiveDEMAND is meant for automation, not like this manual back and forth. It doesn't provide like in-depth social analysis. And what I mean by that, it isn't like your basic like clicks and likes and that kind of a thing. More like sentiment, or what's the market saying about this particular thing. It's not going to do that. There are other platforms out there that are purpose-built for that kind of a thing. And the other thing we don't do is manage ads on social platforms. So while we can do posts to social platforms, we're not going to do like promoted posts or paid posts or anything like that. Now, that being said, we can still track all the traffic back from those things. So we can still, if you do some Facebook ad campaigns, we're still going to track the traffic from it. If you do a Facebook lead campaign, we can still pull those leads directly into ActiveDEMAND and whatnot. So we can do all that, but we don't manage. We're not like an ad management platform. Like we don't do ad management, but we do ad tracking. So let's look at the actual integration steps, or what you'd have to do to integrate these social platforms, whether it's the first time or maybe you've got sub accounts that you're onboarding. One of the things that I like to do is just take an inventory of what we do now and what we'd like to do. So I want to make sure that we cover off what we do now. I want to make sure that maybe we're kind of future facing on what we may want to do going forward. So I'll take a look at these things. Sometimes a good question to ask yourself is, why am I doing this? Why am I posting on all of these places? Because if the answer is, well, because everyone else is, are they doing it for a reason? Well, and the reason why I ask is because getting to the goal should always be where you start. And these social platforms shouldn't be a goal by themselves. So you should use Instagram, for example, for a goal. I want to show company culture on Instagram so that potential hires, when they go to us, they see company culture on Instagram and they're more likely to submit an application. Hey, that's a fantastic goal. It's reasonable and it's accurate, and I can track it, right? So it's important to know what you want to do with all of these things. And as well, we can do all of these with ActiveDEMAND. We're going to go into our account settings And we're going to integrate all of these different platforms. We're going to authenticate them. We're going to use our username for them. And add them in. Now, these are like, some of these are super basic and easy. Some of them, there's a little bit extra configuration because they support like multiple accounts and that kind of thing. So for example, with the Facebook account, yeah, you can add a username and password, but that's not enough. You also have to pick your ad account ID, the page that you want to post to. If you want to do any fancy stuff like Facebook tabs or landing pages or anything like that, you can do that kind of a thing. And then, you know, Instagram, yeah, you can pick the account for that as well. Some other fancy things you can set up. There is the possibility of setting up auto hashtags. So if you want to really hammer in on a hashtag or really hammer in on something that's like a target for yourself, you can put that in there to help suggest that when it's time to come. And as well, we have content publishing, this approval process or moderation process around social posts that I'll talk about a little bit later. So this is our basic setup on the accounts. The next thing we need to think about is campaign strategy, because we want those social posts to live inside a campaign. Let's talk about that first one, multi-channel campaign, that one I was talking about a little bit earlier. We're going to do a big campaign. With that one, yeah, keep all your social posts inside that one campaign for that multi-channel. The idea here, what you want to see how each channel contributed to the success. You want easy reporting for that big campaign, and you want it in kind of in one place. So in this instance, I would say, yeah, include emails, include paid, put all the stuff in that one big campaign. Heck, you could use, ActiveDEMAND's got this thing, short links. You could use those short links for all sorts of wild stuff. You could use them for print ads. You could use it for whatever else you need to get the tracking back into that campaign. You could add call tracking numbers. Like, everything could be tracked back to this, like a big multi-channel campaign, and track the success of it. So if you're going to spend 30 grand and do a bunch of stuff, you can track the impact from it. Now, on the other flip side of the coin, what about just like ongoing stuff? You know, at ActiveDEMAND, the thing that we like to do, we like to have either a quarter-long or a year-long content campaign that we use to track our social posts over a long period of time. It's convenient. We just have this like ongoing generic campaign. It provides us with long-term trending, so we can see, you know, whether people are engaging with it. We can do reporting on that long-term. It's kind of nice when we're doing this kind of thing. I would recommend separating out paid and email into their other campaigns. Email, put them in their own campaigns so you can track that specific email and how it did. Paid, I like to track that stuff separately as well, because that way, I mean, your paid will have its own campaign names, and I like to keep my social all nice and clean and all in one spot. Incidentally, we do, this is just our way of doing it. You could do this differently. Like, if you get like drastically different performance from like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and you want them all in separate campaigns, you know, fill your boots, go ahead. For us, we just put all of our social posts inside a single campaign so that we can easily reference when posts are going out all in one calendar. So that's important for us, is having them all in one calendar. What does that look like? Well, here's our content for the, you know, for our fiscal year of 2021 to 2022, which is one way of doing this. It's a generic campaign, and you can see that it has a calendar of it that has multiple social posts. We do more on Twitter, so we can tend to post about 4 times a day there. And then we'll do our specialty posts where we post to Facebook and LinkedIn as well on a separate schedule, but still in the same campaign. So it makes it very easy to see what's going on, very easy to see when each of these tweets or whatnot are going out, and it's all in one place. And we get tracking back as well. So if I got a conversion off of this, it would come out, that conversion would be attributed to content fiscal year 2021, 2022. Cool. Oh, got one from content. Nice. Let's look at actually building our first posts or getting our first posts into the platform. There are 3 ways of doing this. The first is using the one at a time simple wizard. It's quick, it's easy. It's like if you just want to like add a quick tweet to, or something like that, it's super quick to do in there. There is the bulk Google Sheets or Excel method, where we can build a big content calendar using Excel, or just adding in all these rows. And then there's the multi-post that lets us post to multiple channels at once. Let's do the simple one first. So inside of our content campaign, and this is our live content fiscal year 2021-2022 campaign that I was talking about. I have at the bottom there where we do all of our posting, and that's right next to the calendar. I like to go there because it's just handy, and all the icons make it easy to see exactly what I'm getting. And I would click on, tweet, for example. And notice one thing, I don't have a start date or end date on this promotion duration just because it's not important for me and I don't need the additional controls. I'm just putting posts in here. So let's say I add a new tweet. The first window that I'm faced with is just when I want it to go out and what I want the name to be. This isn't important by itself. This isn't any of the tweet stuff. I'm gonna have to click that edit step button to really get into the meat of it. Okay, now I clicked on the edit step. Now I can actually see some more information. So that campaign step name, that could be just a code or some way of telling me what that tweet is. It's not necessarily what's gonna go out on the wire. On the wire? Is that what we call putting a tweet out? Anyways, the tweet box is what would actually go inside the tweet. We have a download article URL thing here, and the idea there is this is going to make it easy to tweet about a page or post or something on your website. So if you fill that in and you click the import post button, it's going to pre-fill in a bunch of information for you. It's going to pre-fill in the step name, the tweet. It'll give you some images that it grabbed from the post, so you can click on one of them. It just makes it really easy to send the tweet out, and it'll even like suggest referencing some different handles that are associated with it. So it kind of does that all automatically. You notice like at the bottom there's a tracked URL, so it says onead.biz. So it's using our URL shortener to fully track anyone who clicks on that URL. So I don't have to do that. It's just going to do it automatically. Same thing for Facebook and LinkedIn and whatnot. Now, what if? Okay, let's take that into consideration. I just wrote a post. I published it. Now I want to do a bunch of stuff. What I can do is something called a multi-post. This is good for promoting an article on several social channels at once, and it's just going to like do the same thing, but for all the selected channels you want. So you would go to that little 3-dot connection thing. You would say new multi-platform post, check the platforms you want and insert the article, and it's going to do a bunch of this stuff for you. So I'll just show you that happening here. You can see that we can click on that button, we get the multi-post, we pick what we want, we put the URL in, and it's going to automatically draft out posts appropriate for each social platform. And then I can add those in, publish them, save them as draft, whatever I need to do. So it's a very easy way of promoting an article or promoting a page across multiple channels at once. I like it. I like it for ad hoc stuff. Now, what about non-ad hoc stuff? What about like our scheduled stuff? Well, that's where we're going to use our bulk import. This is scheduling out social posts in advance, and there are 2 ways to run this. The first way is to pick a specific day and time for each post. The second way is to post on the next available ideal time. Now, depending on how you do social posting, one of these methods might look silly to you, but for someone else, it's fantastic. So for the control freaks out there, you can pick, okay, I want this post to go out February 22nd at 2022 at, actually that should be at 2:22, just so we get more 2s in there. But in any case, we can pick the specific time that's going to go out. But for a social media manager who's just managing way more volume than that, they would never want to do that. They would never have to want to think about all that stuff. It's just too much work. For them, they would have a set of agreeable posting times, and they would just schedule out a ton of posts that they'd want to go out, similar to like a buffer to how they want those posts to go out. And then they just want to like one after the other, picking the appropriate time slots to go out and just always hammering those time slots with the posts that they want to go out. So 2 different modes of doing this. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the post import page, and we can see that download headers button. That's important. So based on the social platform, we're going to have different headers because some social platforms will have an image, some of them won't, some of them support different stuff. So also what that means, we can't have all of our social posts inside one Excel file or one CSV file. we need to use multiple different ones. We need to use one per platform just because they use different headers. Once we download that header and we go to edit it, it'll look something like this. So here's a Facebook post one, for example. We've got URL, description, image URL, and a post at date, which is optional. I don't have to have that control freak post at date in there. If I want to, I can go laissez-faire. I can build up a whole whack of, let's say, tweets. And I could just tell ActiveDEMAND, you figure it out. This is too many. I know that I want posts to go out every day of the week at these times. You make it happen. And the idea here is that ActiveDEMAND will schedule these out. It'll put them all in the calendar. So based on whatever's at the top here, that's going to go in the first time slot available. Second line, that goes in the second time slot available, and so on and so forth. So again, this is a great way of bulk scheduling out all of your content. Many agencies out there that are doing social media management for their customers will schedule out, let's say, 1 to 3 months. Doing more than that can be a little bit dicey. It can be hard to set that up. But 1 to 3 months, sometimes this is done in concert with a campaign. So for a home buyer, for example, they might want to schedule out some things around home buying season, and they'll hit a bunch of them. So it's a fantastic way of scheduling those out. So what I would recommend for anyone out there, you may want to have, I'm going to put bunny ears around this, keep the lights on social media posting. And that's what this kind of thing is great for. You want a tweet to go out every Monday, and you want to schedule them all out. Fantastic. This is great for if you want to posts to encourage engagement and always do something on Monday morning at 8, for example. This kind of thing is great for that. You can sit down, hammer out all the different questions you want to ask, put them all on a spreadsheet, schedule this thing out, and then just kind of watch it as it goes along and not have to think about it. It's great for agency work. It's great for social media managers who just want to get the stuff done and move on. Next, let's look at content moderation. Content moderation is this process inside ActiveDEMAND that allows for an approval process for content before it gets published. So this is good for agency accounts. This is also great for let's say you want clients who want final approval, so you pre-write the stuff and you send it over to them and they approve it. Great process for that because it kind of mandates it. It's also good if you, and many agencies do this, in fact, many end clients do this as well. They have junior people write the content and then senior people approve and edit. Fantastic for that kind of a thing. You would never want your junior people writing stuff and then directly publishing to, that's how you get some really embarrassing tweets or embarrassing stuff out there. So if you want to use this approval process or this content moderation, it will definitely save the time on that. So let's say we want to enable this. We go on to the account settings and we enable approval process for social posts. One thing that I would highly recommend is if you do this, also check the box that says allow moderators to edit content, because what that'll do is, okay, junior person writes a tweet, oh, senior person finds a typo in it. This one will let them edit it and then republish it and publish it. Whereas if that box isn't checked, the moderator will, the only option they'll have is reject, and then the junior will have to go edit it and then repost. There are some instances where that's going to be useful. Let's say you're separating a client and an agency, and you want to completely control it. Then you would uncheck it. But for most people out there, for most meat and potatoes, get it done kind of a thing, I would just check the box just so you can make it easy for yourself. Next, I'm going to show some widgets in workflows and some social that we can automate. There are some use cases for this that are kind of interesting. The obvious one that I wouldn't recommend is, oh, I want to tweet someone immediately when they follow us. I don't really like it. Maybe it works in your industry. It depends on use case. I think one of the cool things you could do, and again, this would be dependent on your industry, but you could, for example, someone signs up for an appointment. You could say, hey, do you want us to DM you when you're just before your appointment. That's possible inside ActiveDEMAND. So we could potentially DM a prospect if they have their Twitter handle in there before the meeting comes up. The Slack message one, we use that one all the time. That one is fantastic. So internally, we use Slack as our instant messenger. We have a marketing channel. And for example, just before this webinar started, a Slack automatically went out and it said, hey, this social posting webinar is just about to start. Fantastic, because now sales knows, oh, there's a webinar happening right now. Marketing people knows, Adriel's probably busy right now because he's probably on that webinar that I just saw on Slack. So I would really highly encourage using those Slack messages as like a cheap and cheerful way of letting everyone know what's going on. And we can add those to workflows. We can add those to campaigns. We can add those to like our general social campaigns. All really good uses of that Slack message action item. One of the other interesting things you can do is we can actually use like whatever we can get info from, we can use inside decisions. So we can use like the text of a tweet or the tweet type or any of these kind of things. We could potentially use that in a decision. Or if we really wanted someone's, for example, Twitter handle, we could use that in a decision. So if we didn't have the contact's Twitter handle and we're just about to send it out an email, we could maybe we could send out a version of that email that says, hey, put in your Twitter handle for a chance to win, blah, 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 whatever the thing is, right? So we got some more useful things we could do inside of workflow using those different tweets. Okay, well, let's get into reporting. What do we need to do with reporting? Now, if you're posting, like a general rule of thumb, if you're posting something via ActiveDEMAND, it's going to be using tracking links. We use tracking links on everything because we like to track everything and know whether it's working or not, and know whether we're getting value out of that social platform. But what if our post isn't posted using ActiveDEMAND? Or let's say we're using social ads or something like that. I would strongly recommend using value track parameters. This is not an ActiveDEMAND thing. This is Google and Facebook and Bing ads, and everyone uses value track parameters. And they look something like this. So this is an example template that we would use inside Google Ads, for example, inside Facebook ads. And this brings extra information that Google Analytics or whatever couldn't normally find. So let's say we had a Facebook ad campaign, and that Facebook ad campaign has a link back to our website. Wouldn't it be cool if we had the ad group in there, or the campaign name in there, or the placement style, or the content information, or the ad version? And we can put all that information in there. And what's cool there is that once that person goes from that social platform back to your website, we can track all these little interesting things about the ad click and where they came from and what they were doing on that other platform. So really cool, super easy to set up, and I would highly recommend that you set up these value track parameters. We have a support article on them that has everything you need to know about them. Okay, let's look at some general reporting. So for Twitter, we have like pretty basic reporting, but this might be all you need for some clients out there. We have one general overview one. That's how's my Twitter engagement trending over time. This will just give you a quick look at Twitter performance, show you what's happening with things over time, trending, that kind of thing. And the next one is which Twitter posts are getting the most attention. So this will be like a post-by-post breakdown, which will show what's happening over the whatever time period you set. So good example to show what is going on, what is popular, and really let you know if something blows up. So if one of your tweets blows up, this will be where you can first see it. You can use these widgets inside a dashboard. You could also use them inside a scheduled email. So if you're doing this if you're like really heavy on Twitter for one of your clients, for example, you could set up a scheduled email, a weekly, here are your Twitter posts, and here's how much attention they got. Super easy to set up. And I would encourage you guys to use the scheduled emails to report on really like small, tight KPIs and that kind of a thing on a consistent basis, because it just saves time. So again, if I was doing lots and lots of Twitter posts for a client, I would just put both of these inside a scheduled email, set it to go out weekly, and not have to report all the time. I mean, it's really going to scratch that itch of the client thinking like, is this working? Is Adriel like, is he doing anything for me, or is he just like sitting on his butt? Showing this is going to be an easy way of showing that I'm not sitting on my butt and that I am still working. On Facebook, we have a couple of more widgets and reports that we have. Similar thing to Twitter. We can follow with page likes. We can follow with post performance. So again, those high level things are fantastic in there. But then we also have access to the Facebook ad API, so we can see, you know, different KPIs. We can watch them over time. We can use a spark line, and then we could use custom widgets to do anything inside Facebook ads. So if we want to watch from them on a per campaign basis or anything like that, super easy to do. On LinkedIn, similar idea. We have the some high level reports based on how many followers we have, shares and likes, and then we also have that post performance. So again, if your job is posting on social platforms for your customers, those post performance widgets are super easy to use to kind of encapsulate what's been happening recently. So finally, some additional reading where you might want to check out next if you want to learn more about this kind of a thing. Engage.activedemand.com. That's our support article home. And then our YouTube channel. We've been like basically all these webinars end up on YouTube. And then any of our other videos around different features and that kind of thing, we try to do YouTube videos on just to show people how they work and what's going on with the platform in terms of new things and whatnot. If you're not subscribed to our newsletter, we have a user newsletter as well that we send out once a month that shows, you know, what's happening new in the platform, and then also so lets you know about these webinars that are coming up.